wait for 2 more minutes so that all our participants join.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
A very good evening, everybody. We have our speaker here. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi,
Sigma
good
XI
evening.
welcomes. Yes, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. Sigma XI welcomes all of you to Rendezvous Episode 2, the research stream. And today we have with us Dr. Jyoti Bala, Senior Scientist at Rapture Biotech International Private Limited, to share about her voyage and research. I'm Durgashri and I'm delighted to host today's event. Before I begin, I would like to inform you that the participants are requested to fill the feedback form, which will be circulated at the end of the session. Now, I can't stop visualizing this session happening in a room full of curious research enthusiasts waiting with loads of questions. But given the current circumstances, I will be making the best out of the virtual session at a hand for sure. We are quite excited to know more about your point of ignition to become a scientist, your journey with biotechnology, the kind of projects you have worked on, and your experience of working in a world full of creation and innovation, ma'am. So the format of the episode is quite simple. First, we shall have a talk with our speaker. Towards the end, we'll have an AMA round, creating a platform for our audience to interact with Dr. Jyoti. I would like to inform that the students can drop their questions in the chat box and they'll be addressed at the end of this session. So, with our participants eagerly waiting for our speaker to engross them with talks about research, now let's dive into the session. So, Dr. Jyoti, how about you acquaint our audience with your work? Can you briskly walk us through your research career so far?
Hi, Durgashri. Thank you for your introduction and for this platform, for given platform. So, as I we already had this discussion previously also, and for new participant also, let me briefly introduce myself, how I started my this journey in the scientific field. I am a graduate in the botany honors actually from Delhi University, and from there my scientific journey has started both in India and abroad. So currently I'm working in a Raptor Biotech as a senior scientist, but I do have experience in aptamer technology. It's a biotechnology related subject from GNU. And from there I went to USA and in Japan, and I have been in Cambridge University. I have presented my work in Europe and different part of world also. So I hope with my experience in interdisciplinary area, I hope this will be a learning experience, and you people will be little bit benefited by that thing, like how you have to plan your research journey and prospective area where you can go. So I am both, like I have a teaching experience and research experience in different areas of biotechnology.
So we are just very happy to have you, ma'am, seeing your experience working throughout India. I mean, a few parts of India and abroad. We'll get to know more about you. So we are quite excited for this. So let me ask you, why was your choice biotechnology, ma'am? Like there are many other domains, and what fascinated you so much in biotechnology that you chose it over all the other research domains? And when in your life did you decide that this would be what you will be doing?
See, Durgashri, like any other student, when we were in, like especially if we are from India and if we are doing science, most of the parent relatives and we as student actually have these few options. And if I will tell about like few years back, everyone wants to be a doctor or engineer. That's the only two area where people actually want to go. And I
Standard
was some,
choices.
yeah, these were the choices. Now we have plenty of other choices also, but to be very frank, that time either our parent, we ourselves wanted to go in the medical area or in the engineering background. I was good in academy. I was always a topper or second. I was achieving good marks academically. I was very good, but somehow I was not very good with this hospital, blood handling, animal, and these, although I was very good in life sciences and biology. So I told my father that I can crack the examination. I was like without any training, I got like in the waiting list. I got everything was going smoothly, but I know that I am not made for that doctor job or medical professional by doing this surgery and all those things. So I told my father that this is not the job for me. But luckily, that time, one of our uncle, relative uncle, he was as a scientist working in a IARI, and first time he introduced me with this term biotechnology, and that was a booming area that time in India actually.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
when I read about this biotechnology, it sounds very good. That time it was applied area, and that was something which like really fascinated me, because when I was doing graduation in the Delhi University, I was a Delhi topper. Okay, I was like doing very good in academia, but somehow I was not liking dissecting the flowers. I was like, why we are doing this basic biology things? But I was good in molecular biology. I was good in genetics. I was liking medicinal biotechnology things and all those things. Oh, sorry, medicinal plant things, because I saw something applied, the relevance of those areas. And
Yes, ma'am.
when
We
I
get to see
heard,
things with. Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
and when I heard about this biotechnology, then I realized really now from the basic biology part or basic science part, we can go toward the translational research part, or we can utilize these things for diverse applications. So that's the reason I gave the examination. I qualified for this master's program in biotechnology. And from there, my biotechnology journey has started actually.
And it is reaching greater heights. We see you give so many publications, and you're getting so many honors.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And what happened when we started this biotechnology? I hope many of students here are diverse background of science, engineering, and all those things, as we have discussed earlier. But in biotechnology, what has happened? I started to like I understand the fundamentals, the applied part, and all. And then we gave this examination, CSIR examination, NUET, and I qualified that examination also twice while doing the masters. I was in top 20% in the ranking also. So luckily, based on that examination, I got admission in the JNU also. And there in the life science and biotechnology, so I joined life sciences department. And first time I heard this term aptamer technology. cancer biology. And from there, this journey has started. And I learned this very new technology in India during that period. Only we in a JNU and one professor and group in IIT Bombay and one in MTech were doing that technology related work. So from there, I started my PhD applications of aptamer technology in the cancer biology as a molecular therapeutics. And based on that, I achieved four international travel award from USA, Japan, Germany. And while presenting that work, I got my postdoc job from USA, Japan, and then whole thing started from there.
Yes, ma'am. So, scientists around the world, such as yourself, are trying to find a cure to reduce the loss of lives because of cancer. How does it feel to work in such a crucial mission where new forms are arriving every day?
See, like if I we speak particularly about cancer thing, like 5, 10 year 10 year 20 years back, you will see that technology was not that advanced, not in the wet lab, not in the dry lab. We are luckily in a very good time in science and technology, not only in cancer biology, in other biomedical area. In COVID period, you all are seeing this infectious diseases and all. So biology itself, we used to think it's a very simple subject and all those things, but it is not. When we see and we speak about life sciences, it's a mixture of all the other areas also. So now when you say that we have to like deal with a cancer or or a particular disease which is very complex, this means we have to understand this molecular biology part, biochemistry of this disease, because cancer is a disorder. It is not happening because of one reason. There are plenty of different reasons, symptoms, physiology. Suppose if you have to treat a cancer patient, a breast cancer patient will be different because the physiology of breast is different than the brain, the liver, and your colon cancer. So this means we have to understand the physiology, molecular biology, biochemistry of that particular organism, then what system we are handling, whether that disease is happening because of some chemical mutations, virus. So you can understand, first part will be to understand these research areas wisely at a deeper basic biology level. Then only we can be able to understand this a whole complex system and then come up with a smart diagnostic therapeutics and all those things. So that's the reason last time when we were discussing, I was focusing and emphasizing on doing both the things, like technology part also. And first thing is that to make your pillar strong by learning the basic biology, life sciences, chemical biology, from whichever background you people are coming.
There might be a smaller concept, but learning your basic biology or basic science might help you understand that. And so basics are very, very important. And your work with trying to find a cure for cancer, it's not just your job. It's like you're giving some service to the society. So that's kind of satisfying for yourself and
Yes,
society too.
being as a scientist, this will be a rewarding thing because every person, either we are student or faculty or scientist, learning new things, solving a problem. And like right now you are seeing this COVID era, and how scientists are saving whole planet. You can like imagine the importance of yourself in this challenging period also. So it's a really rewarding, and like you can play your part also by giving back something to the society and something to your country also.
Yes, ma'am. So I was amazed looking at your profile. You pursued a bachelor's degree in botany, chemistry, and zoology, as you mentioned. Then you headed to pursue your master's in biotechnology. Then you got your PhD in RNA atometer technology and cancer biology. You've taken quite a lot of major decisions. So how did
Yes.
you gather your courage to stay confident about your decisions? And it's obvious that you had so many obstacles, right, ma'am, in your journey.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
did you
this is,
overcome them?
I understand that every student are not same. Like we come from different background, different confidence level. Not everyone is like in the same. Like I was very supported from my family, and luckily I was good in academy. As I said, I was very keen to science. That is like my personal choice. I am fond of teaching. I am fond of science. Like this is something which I really love also. So that was the one reason that I was always open to jump from here to there, whatever is like fascinating me in terms of like biotechnology was booming area. when I was doing PhD, I was given a choice from my supervisor that either you want to work on virology or either you want to work on RNA aptamer. I chose aptamer because that was applied translation research subject area, and on top of that, it was new in that era also, and still very few people are working on that area. So, but yes, when I started my journey, that time challenges were huge because the technology was new. It is not a protocol based thing. You have to design your whole protocol by yourself. So that was a bit of like challenging thing. Then you have to handle radio labeled activities, virus things, and all those things. So not any these things are not rocket science. If you want to like learn things, you will be able to learn all these things. Just you need some dedication, hard work. Being a scientist is not in that term it's not easy. It requires certain level of passion, certain level of hard work. That's true.
So you have to learn every day. There's something new every day. You have to learn every day, create every day, innovate every day.
Yes, and smartly look what is going in the job sector, what is actually happening. See, as a student, when you are from master or graduation level, one thing is obviously to learn the basic things, get yourself familiar with the new technology, and we are in a data biology time. So either you are from biology background, from IIT, from chemical background, from physics, doesn't matter. We have to make ourselves adapt with new technology, what is coming. We have to work. See, now in the COVID time, everything is moving toward this remote session. Now everything is connected with the IoTs, Internet of Things, and all those things. So now we don't have to sit in the office and say that we don't know the computer part. We are a biologist. We don't deal with the IT part. You have to take your first step. You have to learn. You have to adapt. Then only we will be able to succeed and like get the opportunities in your favor also, no?
As a scientist, and how are you? I mean, because you're related to biology, you will have to do various tests in your labs. So how did the COVID situation affect your work? Because there are certain instruments that you have to work only when you can go to the lab. At that time, how did you take care of your research work? Was it a difficult time? Or
See, as a globally, if you will say, it's a really challenging time. But as I said, Durgashri, like how you can take the advantage also in like as a being a scientist. What I have done, like personally, for time being, offices were closed, institute were closed, but we were not sitting there. As I said, biology is also nowadays integrated with data sciences and bioinformatics part, big data biology part. I had experience with those things and I was adapting because I knew this is the revolution time in biology sector also, and we are going toward this personalized medicine and precision diagnostic area where you have to handle all this huge amount of data. So what I have done at our institute is we have like we have designed new courses, new project program which were online basis. So all over from India, from students, scientists, many people have joined. 50 plus project I myself has handled during that period, and we have completely shifted toward this in silico bioinformatics based program. And I have introduced many courses related to COVID also, infectious biology also, because I do have experience in HIV and influenza and measles virus. So I made my like experience, I've shared, I have utilized those things to teach other student and scientists also during that period. So it's
yeah.
up to you also, like if labs were closed during that period, you still can contribute like, and you can like gain also, you can deliver also. It's up to you all.
Yes, ma'am. Totally. And
Yeah.
many of us here are into data science, ma'am. So, like, we are, since many of us are here from the computer science department, we are learning data
Mhm.
science also. So, can you just give a small introduction about how we can integrate data science and biotechnology? Like, what is the level of interest now or the scope now?
Yeah, see, Durgashree, from VIT also, as I said, like many students came from your college also. I have taught them also for their training and project. What happens? You people are from technology background and IT background, computer sciences background. You are very well in your data part. You know how to handle data. But what happens when someone is from biology background, biosciences, microbiology, or in fact, you talk about the doctors who are working still, they are not actually very well comfortable with the biological data. Okay, if you will talk about this programming, Python, Linux, black screen will come and they will become phobic, to be very frank. Okay, and what is actually happening? You are in a time of genomic revolution. As I said, personalized medicine. What we are eating, where we are residing, we have millions of bacteria and trillions of bacteria inside our body right now, in our gut, inside our, on our skin, and all those things. They are not just sitting, they are impacting us. And how you are eating, what is your climate, based on that, our metabolism is different, our medicine is different. This means your genome, your microbiota, everything I have to consider prior to giving you medicine. That means someone has to deal with these amount of data, and these are not small data. They are like 3.3 billion of data, human genome, actually, if you have to decode. So you should know what is Python, what is Linux, what is R, because you have to make comfortable to this biotechnology, biology people. So as you people, as a technology people, you have to bridge this gap. So make biologists comfortable with these kind of things, because lot of datas we have to handle. And then there is a part of biotechnology which we call as bioinformatics, where all the biological data you have to analyze. So that is complete one stream of area which is seeing the job revolution right now. So there we required a lot of data scientists. Either you can help us in designing the databases tools or make them comfortable, or either you learn little bit of basic biology and do the data analysis for these people. So we
Everything is
have to yes,
interrelated.
yes, yes. So nowadays many of the computer scientists are also coming toward biology, and many of the biologists is also going toward the IT sector.
Yes, ma'am. So, your voyage with biotechnology paved a way for you to visit various destinations across the country and the globe. So, you were a postdoctoral research scientist at Florida International University, Herbert Wharton College of Medicine, USA. Let me ask you, how was your experience and what kind of challenges did you come across there? And what new circumstances did you encounter and how did you deal with them, ma'am?
See, Durgasri, as I said, like when we are in India, there are different kind of scenario. Like sometimes parents are very supportive. Sometimes, in my students, I have seen they have qualified the scholarship, they have done the training, they have got the job from US. But this just because they are like a girl student, their parent didn't allow them to go. So there are different families, different issues. So I was like very supportive from my parent side, but somehow I was not able to travel alone. When I was in India, I used to go by school bus or college buses, or I was in hostel, so I was not very like comfortable with traveling part or staying alone. So that was like something I have to work on. Scholarship wise, everything I have got very easily, because of those technology and the experience which I had from India in JNU lab and all those things. So getting a scholarship was not that easy, no, not difficult in my case. Actually, it was easier for my case. But yes, going there, staying alone, traveling, so I have to make myself adapt to those things. So best part what I have done when I was doing PhD, I started with small steps. Like I went for presenting my work, like poster presentations. You get many scholarship from India also and from abroad also. Like in India, you can get the scholarship. I never paid for any of trip. All the trips were free sponsored trips. Whenever either I went to Japan or USA, Germany, Switzerland, or Cambridge, it was all sponsored and free trips. Okay, so as a student, either you are from graduate, masters, or you are a faculty, utilize those platforms. So I have got awards from international platforms also and from India also. So you should be like aware. You should visit frequently these sites like DBT, DST, CSI. They provide you travel grants and all those things. But at personal level, you yourself has to make yourself comfortable, be smart, do your research work, like where you are going, where you will be staying, whether you know somewhere. Like if we are from JNU and DU, most of the student or the seniors were there, so someone was there to guide us. But if not, then also wherever, whichever lab you are joining, they help us a lot, like in your initial accommodation and all those things. So that is not a difficult part. But from your side, do your research, plan the trips and all those things. And best part will be to take the advantage of these funding agencies, because they will provide you many of the scholarship for your total grants also. If you want to go for small duration internship in Europe or US or UK, you can avail that scholarships also. And in long run, if you want to go for PhD or postdoc, there are certain other scholarship also. So keep your eyes on those platforms, apply timely, so design and plan all those things.
Yes, ma'am. So, did you observe any technical difference or research-oriented difference in abroad and India?
Yes, that that is like uh, we have to like understand the ground reality. We are from developing country. We have a like some ground problem associated with our country because of many other issues. Like we have a diverse culture. Financially, we have little bit like challenges. Not every labs, every institute or private or government institute will be sponsored and funded like similarly in every lab. But what happens here, if you are from good institute, if you have experienced working in a good infrastructured lab, then everything is fine. But not everywhere. Like I, as I said, I have myself has conducted 20 plus workshops all over India in many states. Personally, I have been. So many states colleges are really facing trouble. Sometimes they doesn't have the instruments, sometimes they do have the instrument, then they don't have the faculties to teach them or the technician to guide them how to handle those things. But when we go to abroad like USA, Japan, in good lab, infrastructure wise you will see huge difference. Like here, if I have to perform a 10 lakh of experiment, I have to like follow some systematic rule. I have to take permission from the supervisor. I have to order. Sometimes those kits are very costly. We have to order from different country, then custom related things. Getting those kits will take 3 4 months sometimes.
Consume
Okay,
time.
so these are the fundamental level of troubles which we handle, which we won't handle there. But if you will see overall picture of like educational system and encouragement, what I have noticed in like in this in my experience, studies wise everything was okay, but the technical real experimental data, handling instruments, handling independent projects, there we were lacking a little bit. Because when I was in US, I have noticed students from 10th class, 12th class, they used to come and do their own independent project. That was like a huge like difference which I have noticed. Because here I have never seen that someone from 10th or 12th class is coming to the lab and doing, and very keen towards doing independent project. This is a
They
few
tend to
things.
choose their major a bit earlier than us. Maybe
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is the reason.
yeah. But yes, things are moving here. Now I'm noticing that many of the like institutes, and now due to COVID period, although it is challenging period, but now people also understand that biotechnology is a relevant area. You have to invest in science, because these kind of infectious pathogens is not going to stop. They are coming and they are different kind of diseases. We have to tackle these kind of things now. So we have to invest in science, no doubt about that. So
Yes,
research
ma'am.
oriented people and infrastructure lab, faculties to teach, we all require all those things.
Yes, ma'am. So, of course, all these requires a lot of persistence and daily learning. So, all your efforts have laid out a path for you to work with highly reputed companies, and you've accomplished a lot of things in your domain. So, Dr. Jyoti, what are the different habits or practices you have picked up in your time and your experience in the research field?
Uh, See, if you are doing any research area, see, like I have started my PhD journey, if you will say, it was like in a time of 2005. I started my journey. by 5 year 10-year difference, you will see how technology is advancing. The way you were doing study that time is quite different than this time. Okay, like that, and the supervisor who were doing in past were very different. What kind of experiments they are doing, how they are getting the publications. For getting the paper research article, we used to go to the libraries, get it print. Now things are very different. You all have smartphone with a very good internet. That means you are not relying on, like, time wise you can say. I'm not saying every time 24 hour you have to study, but very smartly you have to manage your time. Okay, like for 30 minutes 1 hour, first choose your research interest or whatever career plan you are planning to go in, then enhance your skills. See, we are from developing country India. We have a huge population, so obviously competition will be huge if we have to get jobs here or whatever. We If we want to excel here, competition will be high. So we have to be, like, we have to enhance our skills so that people will hire you. I have heard in India, whenever I visit different institute, that many students are, they assume that we don't have scope of biotechnology. We do have lot of scope of biotechnology. We are in an industrial revolution for biotechnology itself saving the planet right now. You have a huge scope, but why some company will hire you? You have to ask the question, na? Do you have all the skills which these people are looking for? Are you able to perform this molecular biology experiment or microbiology experiment, or are you able to handle the data what they are wanting? If you don't have, then how you are saying that they don't, this area doesn't have the scope? You have to say you don't have the skills now. So very smartly utilize these platforms. If you are good in financially, if you are capable, go for paid training program, workshops, training. See, there is a difference in the infrastructure. I mean, if you are from academia, if you are completely relying on the college or institute, sorry to say that, but their curriculum is bit different. If you are from private university or if you are from government university, the curriculum is made,
Yes.
sometimes it is very outdated also. But if you will go into the corporate sector or R&D labs, they have high, very advanced technology also, from where if you gain some research experience, you are learning some advanced areas also. So make a balance of these things. Okay, if you are not financially capable, you don't want to go to the R&D lab where you have to pay. Still, you can go to institutes like NII or MTech or wherever you are from in India. You can directly approach through the supervisor that, okay, sir, I'm interested in this technology. I want to gain some experience. Can you allow me for 3 months, 6 months? They are not going to kill you. Someone is going to understand your needs and they will hire you. They will train you also, both freely and paid. That depends on you. Then you all have this YouTube, smartphone. Utilize those platform also very smartly. There are plenty of free platforms. Give 30 minutes 1 hour for enhancing your skills from there also. And then I said these platforms like DBT, DSTI, there also you get a lot of scholarships. But if you are not applying, who is going to give you those scholarship? Do you know that nowadays we have PM fellowship? For doing PhD you will get 70,000 or 1 lakh rupees. So why not to apply all those things? Okay, so utilize those platform also very wisely.
Yes, ma'am. What kind of platforms are they?
See, if you are, I hope all of you are from science background here, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Not everyone is from biology, but still, if you are from biotechnology, then specifically you can go to DBT site. Other than that, if you are from science, then you should go to DST sites, CSIR sites. There you will get, at all level you will get travel grants also and scholarship for doing masters, PhD, and if you are a faculty and scientist, then at that level also you will be getting grant related to that.
Okay, ma'am. That was really good information for us to give it a try. So, uh, could you share with us about the projects you are working on currently, and which one will be your signature project, if you would like to say, or the one you found it most interesting, if there's any one in specific?
See, Durga Shri and other students, as you all are familiar with biotechnology, but biology itself is a stream which deal with whole set of data and biological things. In biotechnology, also, if you will see this, my expertise area is this aptamer technology. Okay, so these are a technology where we utilize and we synthesize a synthetic kind of molecule. It's a very small molecule DNA, RNA, or peptide based technology, which we synthesize in the lab. So we are isolating and we are generating certain molecule which bind with certain other molecule. So now how smartly you can utilize. Suppose there is let's take the example of COVID. You know, this viruses are not able to replicate on their own. They need a host. And in this case, for SARS, we human are the host. So this virus entry is very important area. Okay. So in this spike, protein of this virus is very important for this entry. If you are able to block this spike, you will be able to get a therapeutic candidate, a lead candidate. So via aptamers, you can make a candidate that can block this spike also. Okay, and aptamer is not only for therapeutic; it can be utilized for detecting, for diagnostic, for sensor technology, and so on. Because they are giving you one molecules which can bind to other molecule with high affinity and specificity. So any protein, any enzymes, if they are causing disease, in a layman term, you can block by these molecular candidates. And on parallel, if you want to detect antibiotic in suppose milk, or if you want to check the quality or the detection, the contamination of a water, whether it has some heavy metal or other kind of pesticide, herbicides, if you want to test those things, you make aptamer again that. Get integrate that aptamer with sensor technology, IoT technology, nanosensor. So just be innovative with those things. So this is my expertise area. Mostly I utilize aptamer for therapeutics and diagnostic purpose. But you can utilize these things because many of you are from technology background. So we can easily integrate these things in your sensing devices, imaging thing and all. And while I was giving one talk in Odisha Engineering College, I met one student. He is a BTech student. He got 50 lakh of grant for aptamer. He has generated this. He has actually utilized aptamer for sensing glucose, and now he has utilized this technology integrated with sensor technology, and he has developed a paper-based sensor. So
Paper
in
based.
yeah, so in
That's
our
really
country,
impressive, ma'am.
in our country, diabetes is also very challenging issue, and we cannot come up with a diagnostic kit which cost you 500 or 1,000. We have to look for the price issues also. So this paper-based chip is a very good alternative here. So how well you can adapt yourself, how innovative you will be, that also like very significant part in our research area.
Yes.
So in my area, aptamer, I'm basically utilizing for diagnostic and therapeutic purpose.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, these sound very interesting, and all these need keen observation and daily learning. So, like you can't just come up with something without processing, and everything. So all these
Yes,
are
Durga,
quite. It sound quite interesting. Yes, ma'am.
very nicely you have said. See, as a student, as I said, like when we start our journey from graduation or masters, one thing is like we have to understand our subject area very well. Then make yourself habit. Then especially those students who are doing masters here, make yourself comfortable with the what is actually going on in the worldwide in the scientific community. Read certain research articles. You don't have to go and read the Times of India or NDTV news, because we as a scientific community cannot rely on those data. We need some platform like NCBI Research Scholar where you can go and read scientific validate data and get the ideas. Like suppose if I am aware of this pandemic scenario, I know okay, this SARS is a virus, it's a RNA virus, it is causing this particular challenges in the current time. So how this virus is affecting, what are the crucial protein, with my technology how I can support these things. So this is something what is happening. If I won't read the research article, I will make and I will come up with the same idea, same thing, but I have to be innovative. For that purpose, I should also read now what, like suppose spike is 1,000 base amino acid long protein. If right now people has characterized, few years back, 2 years back, 1 year back, when we were doing project, that time the structure were not present, but now we have a plenty of structure for the spike, we have variants for that. So now if I will update myself with this virus, then only I will come up with the solution, updated solution. I will teach my students also with the proper information also. So being, if you are a student, make yourself comfortable with your basic part also, and read, because here right now you all have to choose your topic also, whether you want to work on cancer diagnostics, sensor, information or data, or you people are from technology background, you can develop a product which is useful for us. Like we are in a time of machine learning, AI. Now things, everything is connected. We are in a time where we can do interdisciplinary kind of subject. So
Yes,
when
ma'am.
you will start reading the others papers, other work, then only you can like smartly pick the smart topic area also, which is very important to craft your career in the near future.
Yes, ma'am. So sometimes there are situations where you have to form a group of people and do your research. There are
Yes.
situations. So how do you build a network of like-minded people? Is it something you develop on experience or an effort-oriented approach, ma'am?
See, for this purpose and for this specific question, I would suggest at the not only at the science level, being a human also, being a good human, try to develop and help each other. It's very important. Let me give you my own example why it has supported us. See, if you are from same lab, and if you feel that, oh, my friend is, and you being a competitive girl, you are not supporting your friend, it will, in a long run, it is going to affect you only. See, like in my lab, our supervisor were like, we were handling different projects, but we were very supportive from each other. Like I was learning aptamer, my friend were doing work on virology, measles virus. So I used to go and help her in her experiment. So I was learning also no virology things, like how virus we have to culture, how we have to treat, what is the virology concept. And while doing her experiment, I have got one publication in measles virus also, and based on that I got job in influenza virus lab in Japan and HIV lab in USA also. So in a longer run, it has helped me in getting a good papers also and work experience also. Similarly, on the same lab, some other students were working on telomerase, shRNA. So we were actually collaborating, we were helping, we were not fighting with each other. So in that way, we got, I think, 5 publication from that lab in a different area. So it has enhanced our skills also, publication wise also. So in a longer run, if you are like helping each other, it is good for the peace also, the positive energy will be around, you will excel, and you will get the benefits out of that.
Yes, ma'am. So now we have LinkedIn and other social media. So finding connections is also a bit easier.
And at a personal level, I would ask everyone and suggest this because I have noticed this thing. Like in LinkedIn, also you have noticed like almost 37 or 38,000 students and international professional people are following each other in my account also. But what I have noticed, few time only, people handle that platform, if that is like a Facebook or Insta, please don't do that. Very professionally and smartly utilize that platform, because if make your profile very like professional profile picture, the data, whatever you are information you are providing, because sometimes these students and other candidates, what they do, they just send you good morning message, hi message. Avoid those things, because from here you are getting job here, from here people are noticing you at a professional level, they can give you internship offer, they can recommend you for job and all those things. So be professional, at least on the LinkedIn platform, and very smartly. Like I got this lecture job collaboration from other professors also, and plenty of opportunity we have got from this platform only. So for in LinkedIn, I would personally suggest like be professional.
Yes, ma'am. I get it. So, what steps did you have to take to build yourself a profile of this sort? Like, I would just like to know what are your future aims, or where do you see yourself in the future, and where do you see yourself now?
See, Durgashri, like at the personal level, one thing is like I have seen with my journey and how I am growing, like networking wise, or like whatever I have achieved research wise, whatever experience I have gained from my international and national platform, really I want to share with the student. In the past 2 years when I came back in India, I explained like whatever I have taught them, I have noticed that they are now also getting a good jobs, good scholarship from USA, Japan, like I have discussed those things. So I want to teach these things to my students also, and on the same time I myself want to be like I want to grow myself also, make myself comfortable with whatever is subject areas is enhancing, so that I can utilize these expertise in getting the grants. And I'm very open to like collaboration related to the biotech industries, so we are associated with multiple organizations also. So I am like utilizing my research experience in both by bridging the gap between the academy and the industry. So either it is to improve my expertise area, or whether I have to improvise the students, I will do on both the line.
Yes, ma'am. So I have another one question which is very much related to us. So, Dr.
Okay.
Jyoti, most of us here are doing our undergraduation and are very keenly interested in research. There's so much information out there, and the booming technology around us is just adding fuel to the fire in us to explore and innovate new things. How can we start off with our research career while we are doing our undergraduation? Is there any ideal process in specific?
See, Durgashri, like as I said, it depends from which institute, which colleges you are coming from. You people are also very lucky because you are from VIT. VIT is known in India also and abroad also. People are doing really good. Your students are really good. We personally know your faculties and all those things. So you are in a right time, right place, and all those things. With my personal experience, like many in many places and many institute, what like they have this in the curriculum that they support mini project and minor project. Like when I was doing master programs, we have to do 2 month 3 month mini projects. If suppose I am doing biotechnology, if I have done a mini project on microbiology field, then I have to do my major project in some different area, like like in a plant sector or animal sector. So they, from institute also, they were like giving us alternative projects so that we will enhance our skills and all those things. But I have seen that it is not everywhere. Like in many institute, they are not like supporting. You have to go personally, as I said. So one thing is that make yourself comfortable, plan wisely that okay, I have to come to the research only, because research area is not very easy. You have to give your time, dedication, and it's a field that requires energy also. Okay, so if everything from your side you are ready to do research, plan your research area topic wisely. Look, suppose I have to work in cloning, molecular biology, molecular therapeutics. I know that PCR, the cloning part, is very important. The same cloning I can utilize in plant sector, in animal sector, in diagnostic, in therapeutic. So this is one technology which I can utilize in different area. As I said, aptamer, that can be utilized in major different area. So learn something like that which you can utilize in different areas. So when you are doing minor project or major projects while you are in undergraduate or masters, your aim should be like you have to enhance your skills, get some paper where you can like project topics. During graduation, your aim should be to learn new techniques, which is not taught in your curriculum actually. Okay, maybe they are just showing you the instruments or data or experimentation. But when you are doing independent projects, then actually understand how those technology can be utilized in real scenario. Then the actual challenges and troubleshooting come. And when you go abroad, these people don't hire you just because we are from GNU or DU. They will see whether you are having an independent scientific ability to make a good project area. if some challenges will come, whether you are capable of handling and doing the troubleshooting or no. So accordingly, at undergraduate level, just try to learn new techniques. If not new technique, whatever has been taught in the curriculum, also make yourself that you are master in few of those techniques. Okay, and during master 6 month or 1 year project, try to do some good major area of project. If you are lucky and if you have good data, then get a review article, research article also. This will also support you, but that is not a compulsory part that you should be having a papers. You don't have to compromise with the data. Quantity doesn't matter, quality matters. So whatever you are learning, make yourself master in few of the like area subject wise. If suppose I have to go in the cancer biology, I know I have to make myself comfortable with the molecular biology, biochemistry, cell biology part. So same goes with you people also. Whatever area you want to go, you know what you have to like learn. If you're from computer, you know these days this Linux, Python, and machine learning. Every day something new is coming. Make comfortable yourself in those areas.
Yes, ma'am. Sometimes when we come across some random information, we get plenty of ideas, but when it comes to processing them, structuring them, and putting it on paper, we might find it difficult.
Yes,
So we
it's
have to
true.
get acquainted with the process.
Yes, and you see, Durgashri, like when we read, suppose newspapers. Obviously, as a student, I always, not only me, we all have been in the same boat. We get very fascinated. Okay, now this CRISPR technology came. I want to do this genome editing and all those things. But we have to understand, if you don't know ABCD, how you can XYZ. You have to go, like, you have to learn those things because doing this CRISPR technology, we are in a time, as I said, by sequencing now you can learn, you can decode, you can get the genomic information of any organism. In past, this human genome took 10 years. Imagine now, in 1 2 day, you will get the genomic information. By CRISPR, you can edit all those things. So you have technologies, but if suppose you don't know what is DNA, what is gene, what promoter, what mutation you have to change, you won't be able to use this data and this data and this technology. So if you know what you have to change, otherwise you are going in the lab to cure the COVID, but you are making some variant which is more deadlier than that variant. See, it will be very very challenging that time. So that's the reason I'm saying we have, if we are in a science background, from A to Z we have to go. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It's better to keep our basics stronger.
Very, that is a, and we as a student actually try to miss that part. Like we want to directly go to XYZ. We want to take the shortcuts, but in research, that I'm sorry to say that is not like a very good idea to go with. But yes, I here I want to tell that what in past I have noticed, especially in our country, we were doing very good science. We were doing in biology and other science areas also, but we were not very we were not giving emphasis on this patent part or innovation part. Now if you are doing some research, patent is also very information. If you are getting some protocol or product, get it patented, get the royalty for yourself also, for your countries also. Get familiar with, this is also very important part. And now it's not always important to do your PhD and come to the postdoc. Be innovative, start your startup. People and countries like our ministries are also supporting those parts. So it's not you have to take a 10 year of career plan. If you are good, you are having experience, you are having ideas, plan alternatively also. Okay, so I think in IIT and other institute also, now they are also supporting startup ideas and they are giving a good innovative grants for student level also.
Yes, ma'am. And it's like, as you told, take a sustainable path if you want to sustain and research.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. So, Dr. Jyoti, as you mentioned earlier, you pursued your PhD in India, but you went abroad and got huge work experience there. How about you tell us a bit about the opportunities out there, the scholarship and everything? Like, it will be
Okay.
very much useful for us.
Yeah. Durgashri, people are from different background also, but as I said, DST, CSIR, and many of these funding agency will provide you fellowships. Either you are from biology or non-biology background. So I would suggest for getting these scholarship for master level and for PhD level, you can get PM fellowship, DST, CSI. Just keep your eyes on that platform for for national grants, okay, or national scholarship. After that, based on that, we got good PhD offers you can get, and based on that publication, if you are really doing research and PhD program, if you are in master level also, as I said, take the advantage of these travel grants. So what they will give, that if suppose your parents are not supporting you to go and visit US and UK for 6 months or 1 year or 5 years, but they will. I hope they will allow you to go for 2 days. Okay. And what will happen if you will personally go and share your poster or invited talk, what you are doing here? And if you personally meet the expert areas, like when I presented my this Aptomer project in Japan, that was the time when I got my postdoc offer from USA and from Switzerland on same moment, because I was discussing those things with those professors who are expert from that area, and I have got a very big scholarship from a very renowned lab, Professor Suzuki lab. So this is one way you should go and get the professional interactions and get the jobs or scholarship ideas. Other than that, suppose you are a PhD student, so we have different scholarship things for them. For postdoc level, we have scholarship things. For master level, we have different scenarios and different eligibility criteria also. So things varies depending on which country you want to apply for. At graduation level, master level, and PhD level, they will test your English and communications also, so you have to give some additional TOEFL and other things also, so make yourself prepared for those things also. If you are from postdoc level or direct scientific job you are going, then they don't require all those things. And if specifically areas, countries like Japan, European countries, challenges and competition are a bit less than UK and USA, because the visa procedure are very lengthy in UK and USA. Although the scholarship numbers are very high, but with my personal experience, I would suggest like then the getting a visa takes a longer duration of time. Although in from Japan and from Europe, Japan in medicine every year they are getting Nobel Prize, and they
Yes, ma'am.
treat Indian scientists very well also. So why not to go to that kind of countries also? Na? Utilize salary wise also, they are giving a huge salary in comparison to US. They are treating you very well. Then they are the country wise. You have to take everything in consideration. If you are going US from Delhi, it is like 26 to 30 hour journey. If you are going Japan, Tokyo, it's like 8 hour journey. So one day I was in morning I was in Tokyo, and evening snacks I can have with my parents. So overall
I get
pictures
it.
you have to handle, like at personal level, what you want. You really want to
Yes.
go to that Western zone, or can you excel in this areas also? Because we as a scientist want to like excel our expertise area, no? And whether you want to return back, like when I went these countries, I was very sure that I'm going there to learn new technologies, and I have to be back in my country at my place. So you have to like plan everything in that way also.
Yes, ma'am. So after your PhD, you went abroad, right, ma'am?
Yes.
So was it based on applying for a job, or were you sent from your own college or the
No.
university?
As I said that, see why I was emphasizing going and delivering your this poster presentation and invited talk. As I said, I have got five publications from my PhD. But these publications came after my joining. So on paper, I was having zero paper when I actually got the job offer. So that was also very, because in India, many people think that if you have 5 or 10 paper, then only you will get job or
Yes,
scholarship.
ma'am.
It's a myth. If you know your subject area, then only you will get the good opportunities. So in my case, when I went Japan for presenting this aptamer technology, as I said, I interacted with these scientists at the personal level. I was
Okay.
presenting, I have been invited for invited talk there. So while I was presenting my talk, after some time, one professor came from Switzerland. He was also working on this aptamer technology. had discussion about the work and all those things, and he offered me that, would you be interested in joining my lab? But that time I didn't had the degree because I have just submitted my thesis. I have to defend my viva also. So I told him that it will be a 6 month process. Still, I have to work in GNU. So, and samely, that Japan lab in Akira lab, I have just sent my CVs, and on same red I have got the offer also. So these things happens if you know your subject area wisely. So that director's labs, I have got the offer. So he has given me Kismeto fellowship based on my expertise area. So these things happen in that way. But obviously I understand this is not like very common way. It's not happen with everyone. So there is a systematic way also where you can approach. I've been lucky because I don't know what has happened that time, but I have chosen a very good topic area. Maybe that's why things went very well in my career wise. But I know in my students' case and all those things, you can apply. Like, let me give you example of Japan. So if you are planning to go Japan at graduate level or those things, you should go to Indo-Japan embassy site. Okay, the same thing for European countries also. We have different scholarships and time. The deadline is mostly yearly, two wise, or sometimes quarter wise. Okay, different scholarships. So you should go and apply those things. Mostly they will ask you to provide some project details, and sometimes they call you for interviews. And if you are in graduate and master level, then language examination also they will take. So wisely you have to apply those things. I would suggest, if you are planning for Japan, visit Indo Japan embassy site. There they have JSPS and other scholarship, max scholarship. Apply those things. The price wise also this is very nice, and tax wise also they are not detecting a lot of tax from the students. And if you are going till PhD level, you can do jobs also, so additional money also you can like get. So all those things you can plan.
Yes, ma'am. From your experience, I understand that networking is very much important for research. So
Very, yes.
joining with people, and this gives a lot of opportunities for you to go to places which you wouldn't have expected to.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, yes, with along with work and this like academia journey, yes, beautiful places like Japan. It's a very beautiful country. Then I have visited USA and Switzerland. So it's a perk also to visit these countries, beautiful countries, have a good friend, international friend, and all those things. These are also a perk on like.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So that was really inspiring, ma'am. From numerous publications you receiving great honors, your voyage in research is quite interesting. I think I got answers for everything I was curious about. Now let's give the turn to our audience.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
anything related to Dr. Jyoti's work or something in general that you want to know about from a research scientist, feel free to unmute yourself or drop a question in the chat box, and Dr. Jyoti will be answering your questions. Right, ma'am?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I'm your first year student. My name is Manav Taluja, and I had a question for you, ma'am. For us undergraduate student, we have certain opportunities like for interning in certain universities as a summer research program. So, like, how would we go about like the application procedure is there, but like, how would we make ourselves like, a potential candidate, a worthy candidate, because these sort of things tend to get quite competitive. So like just having sufficient knowledge about a subject is enough, or like do we need to like have our own personal project or like have a publication, like because I've heard that even in our college our professors can help us out with it. So like could you just like give a brief idea as to how to go about it?
See, Manav, for undergraduate level, as I said, in our country, things are little bit competitive. Either we are student or we are faculty, or as I was saying. So, if you are financially okay, I would suggest, instead of going and apply for university, directly go for some R&D labs where you have to pay for internship, because see they are like charging you some amount of fee, but I have seen in most of the institute, they are giving you very good package also. Like they are giving you a platform where they are giving you a good mentor, give how to write a scientific thesis, presentations, and good project areas also. If you are not financially okay and you still want to apply for, things will be competitive. You just have to make like do little bit for homework first while applying. See which lab you are applying for. Don't send general emails like you are interested in that lab for internship. You are sending the same email to every professor. Just do some little bit of homework that okay, this is a supervisor, this he or she is working on this areas and you are interested. You have to show some interest also. Okay, that okay sir, I have read this paper and I am in this level, I want to this learn this technique. Okay, so in India, things will be little bit competitive. You have to bear with that. You have to apply for multiple emails. In a way, if your supervisors and institute people or professor are helping, then these things will be easier. Like in our master case, they have sent us for different institutes. We don't have to apply. They have sent us for different because they are charging a lakhs of fee. Act- Actually, they have to like assign these things, but I have seen in I won't take the names of those private universities. They are charging a lot of money and fee from the student, but they are not supporting because every day 50 per project I myself is handling. I see every day students are coming with me. They are giving huge fee for us. But still, if you are okay to come with us, I am always open. But I understand the ground reality that everyone is not comfortable giving that much of fee. Take the advantage of YouTube's and this platforms also, the freely platforms also. There are plenty of other platforms also these days, Udemy, YouTube. Learn your skills, enhance your skills because these things are required. More than internships on paper, getting the good ideas, skills is actually important. Okay, take the advantage of your professor connections, and instead of writing and forwarding the same mail to all the professor, do little bit of homework first. Okay.
Yes, madam. Hope that
Thank you so
answered.
much, ma'am, for the help.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So we have a question from Devansh in the chat box. What
Yeah,
are the
Devang.
new and upcoming topics of research in biotechnology?
See, Devansh, biotechnology itself is a very big area, I would suggest. Okay, the same biology, wherever life is there, you can utilize biology. Okay, either it is a food technology or your medicinal plant, agriculture sector, because we are in India, 70% of our economy is dependent on agriculture sector. So either you enhance the production, the quality of things. We can either go to the plant sector, medicine sector, diagnostics and sector, environmental sensing sectors, whatever you name it, wherever life is there, we can go in biotechnology sector. But the top one thing which with my personal experience, because in the past 3 4 years I am also diverging in this area, is this thing, this big data biology part. Because here a huge amount of data is present. As I said, your human data itself is of 3.3 billion of data which we have to decode how things are working. Then, as I said, you are not alone. With you, millions of bacteria and trillions of viruses are still residing with us. So it's not our genome. What is inside us, what we are eating, what climate we have, because depending on the climate, our microbiota will be different. How we are behaving, how my physiology is going to behave, things are different. In past, have you seen that for diagnostic people, they used to give you this chemical testing. You just have to mix the chemicals, see the difference in the color and urine test, blood test, and all those things. Then come this molecular era when we have to do this ELISA, PCR. Now is a time when you have to go and do the sequencing, what you are seeing in the COVID. Every country is emphasizing do sequencing, get the data. So here also personalized medicine and precision diagnostic will require to decode the genomic data. And for that, it's not a huge small data, it's a big data biology thing. So we require people. So in biotechnology itself, because if we have genomic editing things, but editing what you have to edit will tell this bioinformatic big data, no? That okay, this is causing the disease part, this is causing the mutation, this is the variation. Now change it. So the editing part will come later. First, you have to decode what you have to do with. Is it good for us or is it bad for us? Then you have to do the cloning. So for biotechnology people, if any one of you are good with data part, instead of going for 5 years of PhD and 5 years of postdoc, do some smart big data biology courses for 1 year or 10 years and directly come to the industry.
Yes, ma'am. Hope that answers Devansh. And yeah, there's somebody who's asking if they can contact you on LinkedIn or mail for any future advice.
See, for professional level and for scientific discussion, I'm always open. But as I said, we all are busy. Just make sure that you are asking relevant scientific and educational qualification. I would be very happy to help you all. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Sudipta.
Can I ask another question? If I,
Yes, please. Yes, please.
ma'am, since you're working for both the industry as well as in the research field, ma'am, what is the scope of bioinformatics like in the field of entrepreneurship? Like as someone who has interest in the field, like, but I'd also have interest in entrepreneurship. So like, what is the scope? Because bioinformatics is a very scientific and a tricky thing, like to implement like in the real world outside the lab. So like how, like what sort of businesses have you like seen in the industry or like even the company that you're working on? Like, could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. So, when I was in bank, I was working with a Malsys company. It's a genomic based data analytic companies for biology. And that time I have experienced how this biological system, biotechnology, and bioinformatics company in India is actually doing. And I have collaboration in Canada also. They for big data biology kind of thing. So it's a very booming area. Although in you have seen like every day in news you are seeing this news that emphasizing on doing genomics, not only for COVID related, for other genomic screening and personalized medicine and precision diagnostic thing. So the upcoming time already personalized medicine things is happening, but in India few places data is not that relevant, but in the upcoming time we have to deal with now. Medicine people, hospital people guy has to tell that you have to go for genetic screening, genomic testing. So people will require these things, and this is the right time if you want to come up with the startup related to bioinformatics, because what is happening, this sequencing data what yield this big data information of genomics and sequencing the in whole omic data. Many faculties people in curriculum, it is not the part of your curriculum in most of the institute, and still people are not very aware of big data biology, the data analysis part, not your faculties, not most of the students. So one way if you want to get the startup in this area is to either do the analysis part, customize analysis, data analysis part you can provide, or you can train the manpower and provide to them. So in a different way you can handle this data part and you can bridge these gaps also. And many of bioinformatics companies are starting also and getting the support also from the ministries also. So it's the right time in both the sectors, so you can either provide the service or the train manpower.
Yes, Manu, I think that answered your question. Yes, Sudipta, you can ask your question.
Yeah. Hello, ma'am. This was a very wonderful session. I just wanted to know, like you mentioned so many opportunities that you got. How did exposure to lab play an important role in that? And now that we are in online classes and never been to college, we are not at all exposed to labs. Will that hinder our chances at these opportunities?
See, Sudipta, to be very frank, with my own experience, see what happens from past 2 year and from this 2019 COVID time, I'm noticing from every institute, students are coming and they are saying the same thing, ma'am, we are not having any practical experience. Either it's a dry lab or it's a wet lab. Okay, technical practicality knowledge will be required. I won't deny that part. But what we can do? now we are seeing this Omicron and other challenges. Viruses are a little bit complex, so the upcoming time will be not like very wonderful, you can say. We have to adapt ourselves, but you will see that, see, obviously we are not able to do and go to the lab and do the practical experiments, but most of the institute are not giving you that much of infrastructure and that much of practical experience. They are, I have seen how they are teaching you PCR. They are not making you comfortable in, RU people are like in biotechnology, very few students still are capable of doing cloning. They are not able to, they just show you what is the apparatus, how we have to put the chemical, they will just run the gel. This is not the way how a technology should be learned. You should be independently handle how the reaction should be dealt with, troubleshooting will be dealt. So these are the technical part. In the practicality, I understand that if you are missing that part, still I would suggest, from your background stream area, there are plenty of R&D's companies. They, most of the companies nowadays providing free educational videos also. Thereby they are explaining whole set of lab instrument, the experiments also. Wisely utilize that platform like Thermo Fisher and other renowned companies. They are showing you full experiment. I understand you are not handling the machine, but still from zero, it's better. You are learning, you are seeing how the apparatus look like, how to perform the experiment. So it's always better, instead of doing nothing, do something. Learn, make yourself comfortable. And let's see how this COVID things are going on, but we have to adapt ourselves. But this part is happening with everyone. And this is the reason I was saying that if something like, if you are not able to handle wet lab, please make your skills in dry lab. Either you are a bioinformatician or data scientist or whatever, because data will be the upcoming part, no? So learn AI, machine learning, whatever. Don't waste your time, I would suggest.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have another one question.
Yeah,
Kunal is
Durgesh.
asking, what are some of the concerns about biotechnology regarding human health and diversity?
See, the things in human biology will be always complex, as we were discussing about this cancer biology part. Okay, so different diseases have different issues. As we were saying, if you have to handle breast cancer, things will be different. If you are handling viruses, things will be different. Then you have some bioethical norms, safety regulations, which we have to follow. Like if like I have experience working on HIV, measles. It's not in any lab I can go and start doing the experiment. I have to be trained in virology. We require some safety norm. If you have to work on genome editing and human things, then you have to deal with ethical part also. You have to take permissions also for clinical research also. So no doubt, if you want to come in the translation research, these kind of complexity will come, but these things are the upcoming part. You as a student right now should be more focused about choosing the area and enhancing your technology part. At that part, your university, your scientists, your ministry, they are taking care of those things. Like different, suppose you don't have biosafety lab, but at your place or maybe in different state, they have those facilities for radioactivity, for virology, for infectious disease. You can collaborate, you can go there, you can like, you can do your work. That won't be a different like difficulty in that time. But yes, these kind of complexity is always the part of science, and especially the biological sciences, which we all have to do deal with. And that's actually make biology such a beautiful subject also.
Hope you got your answer, Kunal. Yes, Varshini, you can unmute and ask your question.
Good evening, ma'am. That was a wonderful session.
Thank
So my question is, what other fields can biotechnology be integrated, and what results they could lead to?
See, the fundamental areas of biotechnology, as I said, you can either go in the agriculture, food technology, diagnostic, therapeutics, biomedical areas. But very significant areas where a technology peoples can help us is the development of products. Okay, like in case of right now, you all are seeing COVID period. diagnostic, suppose I have to work on diagnostic, so obviously I have to detect certain molecules related to either pathogen or related to that disease. That thing I can do as a biologist. But now for developing a product, I need a miniature devices. Now I don't, suppose I have to train a farmer for testing of food or soil. I don't want to give him a huge amount of spectrophotometer. He will be very afraid of that, handling those things. But if I minimize this device, these things are possible nowadays. You make a spectrophotometer in a qubit, small miniature devices for which I will require engineering people. And then from the help of IoT people or sensing technology, I can connect these things with IoT, with smartphone, so that they can do the real data in analysis also. Smartphone, I think a farmer also understand how to operate. So if I will minimize these things for real time actual monitoring, so there the integration of technology people for diagnostic, for development of new product, for like nowadays you are seeing a smart mask, shields, diagnostic kits, which are integrated with AI, machine learning. So those kind of integrations we have to come up with. Like as I said, the paper-based sensor. So those things are biology and technology. So that kind of innovative things we all have to do, and we all are open with that. The new product development.
Yes, Varshini, I think that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. So I guess with that, we can wrap up. Dr.
Yeah.
Jyoti, is there anything else you would like to tell our audience?
From my side, I am very happy, and I'm very thankful for you for sharing and for connecting with me, so I can share my things and experience with you all, because I'm always fond of mentoring and sharing these things with students, because I know what as a student I have faced, and these kind of advices are really helpful in the long run. So from my side, I am wishing you good luck to all of you. Do well, make all of us do your best, show your best skills, do best and do good for our country also. Okay, from
Thank
my
you,
side,
ma'am.
wishing you good luck.
Thank you. So thank you for joining us tonight, Dr. Jyoti. I'm sure everyone here had a wonderful time listening to you share your insights and experiences. I, on behalf of Sigma XI, thank everyone for joining us. I hope the session was engrossing and informative. Do let us know your suggestions by filling out the form in the chat section or by accessing the QR code that will be displayed on the screen. Once again, I thank all of you for your presence and participation. Stay safe. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll end this session now.